Well, this certainly is a sign of the times, is it not? The woman who has been picked by President Biden to be on the Supreme Court cannot tell another woman, Senator Marsha Blackburn from Tennessee, what the definition of woman is. Ketanji Brown Jackson refusing to define the word woman. I just couldn't believe this. I want you to hear it because it just needs to be heard to be fully appreciated. Here we go.
Can you provide a definition for the word woman?
Can I provide a definition?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I can't.
You can't?
Not in this context.
So
I'm not a biologist.
The meaning of the word woman is so unclear and controversial that you can't give me a definition?
Senator, in my work as a judge, what I do is I address disputes. If there's a dispute about a definition, people make arguments, and I look at the law and I decide.
Well,
so I'm not.
The fact that you can't give me a straight answer about something as fundamental as what a woman is underscores the dangers of the kind of progressive education that we are hearing about. Just last week, an entire generation of young girls watched as our taxpayer-funded institutions permitted a biological man to compete and beat a biological woman in the NCAA swimming championships. What message do you think this sends to girls who aspire to compete and win in sports at the highest levels?
Senator, I'm not sure what message that sends. If you're asking me about the legal issues related to it, those are topics that are being hotly discussed, as you say, and could come to the court. So
yeah, you better bet. You better believe they will be coming to the court. And apparently we'll have a justice there that doesn't quite believe it's necessary to define the term woman. I got to tell you, this is absolutely bonkers. This entire ordeal and the message it's sending, I'll tell you, to young women all over the country is that your government clearly doesn't take you and your biological sex seriously enough. So this is why, and I advocated for this on yesterday's program, I led the show with this idea, women effectively need to come together in a form of unionization, if you would. We need to say, okay, we're not going to compete unless everybody actually is biologically female. We're not going to get into that pool and start swimming unless we're swimming with other biological females. That's just what needs to happen. I want to turn now to the news coming to us overseas. We have learned that NATO is ramping up its forces there. 4 more battle groups will be deployed to Hungary, Romania, Bulgaria, and Slovakia as the bloc steps up to respond to what Russia has been doing. This all comes, of course, as President Biden goes to Europe to help some of these negotiations. What a mess Russia now finds itself in. What a mess the world is in as a result of all this. I do think it's interesting that we're getting indications that some of Putin's top people may be sort of fleeing the ranks. You have one of his top envoys, somebody named Antony Chubais, who quit. He's leaving the country, quote, with no intention to return in protest over the Ukraine invasion. So that's a rather big deal. One official there, apparently one of the Defense Department officials coming out admitting that he had written a letter saying that Putin shouldn't go into this war because it was not winnable. And it's all happening as Putin loses his 15th top commander there in the Russian army. There are estimates of between 10 and 17,000 Russian soldiers now dead. And there's some fear out there that, Putin might, in fact, now be growing quite desperate. And the president has warned that chemical weapons are a possibility. Dmitry Peskov, who is the spokesperson for Russia, was on CNN saying repeatedly that they would not be ruling out nuclear weapons. So this is escalating in ways that are just incredibly unfortunate. And there's so much human tragedy going on. And in my view, anyway, a lot of this could have been prevented, should have been prevented, never, ever should have happened. I don't know what kind of intelligence Putin was getting from his team that he actually was led to believe that they might actually be able to go in and win this quite quickly. This is not something that can be won quite quickly. It is something that is going to be a tremendous, tremendous challenge now for the entire world, and has put Russia in a place where it certainly is not going to be very happy, in that it is now being sanctioned similar, and will be in the coming weeks, I suspect, similar to North Korea. So that's going to make it extremely challenging for their economy, for their people. And of course, all of this has an effect on energy markets. We see today that the price of oil continues to surge, upwards of $120 a barrel. Now we're looking at, with the expectation that by summer, I've predicted $150 oil, possibly $200. It could even go higher than that, because for whatever reason, we had all this intelligence, allegedly, that this was going to happen. The Intel department did a good job on that. So where was everybody else? Why wasn't anybody else thinking through the energy implications? Why wasn't anybody thinking about what this would mean for everyday Americans at the gas pumps? That's my question. Because there are ways to solve this, in part, drill right here in the United States of America. I'd also be looking at Canada. I'd also be looking at Latin America. We've got a Western hemisphere with lots of oil and lots of natural gas, and we should be getting it all right here, as close to home as possible, with ourselves dependent on ourselves and our domestic sources. Why didn't someone think that one through? Why were they out there pitching green energy when they had intelligence that indicated Putin was going to be invading Ukraine? And we had to have known we were going to sanction Putin. We had to have known we were going to sanction Russia and Russian energy. So why didn't anybody make a push for more domestic sources of energy, knowing all this was going to happen? They think somehow it's okay that we're going to be dealing with $9 at the gas pumps. And I suspect that you will see $9 at the gas pumps this summer. The American economy, the American consumer cannot handle that. This is a total failure of our government, in that they should have been more ready. And it makes you wonder, are they that desperate to change us all over to green stuff? Look, I got nothing against green energy. I've said that over and over again. I have nothing against it. But you don't have it in place yet. And so why would you rob the American people of their chance to have a decent life with moderate energy prices? Why would you be forcing this energy inflation onto them right now, knowing that all this was going to happen? These are questions that we deserve answers to. And our politicians need to step up and give us some sense of what's going to transpire. Because if we deal with these higher oil prices for the foreseeable future, I am telling you this, recession is in the works. We will have a recession because people can't afford this. And when they can't afford the gas in their tanks, they have to cut back on everything else. Not to mention, of course, the inflationary effects, which we've already seen massive, massive increases in, right? Inflation that's happening within food and energy and everything else, frankly, housing costs as well, all way, way up. This is all going to lead to a recession. And my point is, it could have been prevented. All of this could have been prevented. So that's what's so frustrating. Coming up, I want to talk about Kamala Harris, because Kamala is getting yet another new staff member. Imagine that, because they're all walking out. We're talking about a mass exodus. But before we do, I was just telling you my concerns about inflation. It's one of the reasons why I think investing in gold is such an important part of one's overall diversified portfolio right now. I've been telling you, I've been pounding the table for months now, probably over a year since the start of this show, really, that having gold in your portfolio is a form of diversification that you need, especially in times of inflation. To me, gold is something, depending on your sort of appetite for risk, that you want to have at least 1 to 5% of your overall net worth in. And it's why I want you to call my friends. They'll help you out, I promise. Really wonderful group there. Charles, who runs the place, has been on the show at various times. He's going to be actually coming up next week again, so you want to stay tuned for that interview. But it's legacypminvestments.com, 1-866-589-0560. If you're watching this on Rumble or on YouTube, please make sure that you subscribe to the channel, that you like the video, and do note on the screen the number 1-866-589-0560, or you can go to legacypminvestments.com. Tell them I sent you, because I promise you they will take really, really good care of you. It's something that you need right now in terms of that diversification. Anyway, getting back to Kamala and her staff exodus. This is just amazing. 10 of them now, out the door. Out the door. And now she's got a new person who's coming over from HHS, where she'd been working on the COVID response team. Her name is Kirsten Allen, coming over and joining her team. But you know what's just amazing is how many people have left just recently, right? There were 3 high-profile departures, bringing the total number of departures to somewhere around 10. I mean, I just question why it is that this woman, our vice president, can't seem to keep anybody in their roles. I mean, what exactly is going on? I suspect it has to do with a couple of things. One, she's not tremendously intellectually gifted. I mean, she's been sort of put up on this perch, but, you know, hey, she failed the bar first time around. I saw her questioning of Kavanaugh. She struck me as a completely political animal with not a whole lot going on upstairs. And I think that has been really exposed since she's been in office. So she doesn't have a lot of pure capability. And then you second that with the fact that she's clearly not much of a leader. I mean, I don't know how you lose that many people that quickly if you have any kind of ability to manage and lead. So she has her problems in terms of management capability. And of course, just pure raw intellect. I think when you're in need of both those things and you're in such a high profile position, it's problematic. Anyway, just a quick reminder from one of our great sponsors here on the program, you need life insurance. And by the way, with all the inflation that you've seen in our economy, I was just talking about this earlier, all this inflation, you need it even more. And you probably need a little bit more, right? Even if you got your policy ages ago, I would recommend taking another look because the cost of everything is going up so much. But there's a way you can keep at least this one cost down. And that's by looking at selectquote.com. You don't want to go to just anyone to do this. What's great about selectquote.com is that they have a wonderful algorithm where they're able to effectively marry your type, your health, your age, etc., with all the different life insurance policies out there. And they can do this in just minutes. So I'll give you an example. They found a 40-year-old man with high blood pressure, a 10-year, $500,000 policy for only $19 a month. $19 a month. I mean, this is very, very affordable stuff. And like I said, even if you have it, you want to take another look right now because inflation is driving every cost imaginable higher. This one, however, is affordable. And it's one of those things that you kind of just need to do. The quotes are 100% free. They take only a couple of minutes. So do me this favor. Take a couple of minutes out of your day to get your free quote. Go to selectquote.com today. Again, that's selectquote.com. Full details on sample policy and carrier ratings at selectquote.com/commercials. Price could vary by health, issuing company, and other factors. Not available in all states. So wonderful, as always, to have you here. I think we got to continue watching the situation there out of Russia. Again, this is all developing. Very, very sad stuff. It's just when you think of the loss, the human loss that's going on there, whether it be the Ukrainians or whether it be all these Russian soldiers that are being killed, it's just so devastating. And so I'm hopeful that they can come to some kind of accord here. They need to, but the reality is this. It's going to be very hard for Russia in the future as it tries to work on this world stage. For some reason, Putin got away with this with Crimea. I would hate to see him get away with this again under a Democratic administration with Ukraine. It is important that we speak up as a nation, that NATO speaks up and make sure that they contain this monster that Putin has become. Just a reminder, make sure that you subscribe to this podcast so that you get it delivered every single day. You can go to my website, trishintel.com, sign up for for it there. You can go to Locals, the platform, the new social media platform that I'm on, at trishregan.locals.com. I encourage you to do that. You can help support the show there on Locals, and you can interact directly with me, including live talkbacks. So please join me there on Locals, trishregan.locals.com, and I'll see you back here tomorrow.